From the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, where you can subscribe to my completely free, yes, I said free newsletter, which is delivered twice daily. Well, I was reminded this week of a phrase coined by the late Democratic Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. The phrase, boob bait for bubbas. He was, of course, referring to Republican politicians making empty promises to conservative voters. You know, like tough talk on illegal immigration with no intention of acting on it. But I think it's time to adapt the phrase for Democrats as they deal with young activist primary voters who've been indoctrinated by so-called higher education. I call it boob bait for Bolsheviks. The young socialists want someone like Bernie Sanders, who's rising in the polls and making the craziest of promises. So establishment Democrats are panicking over what to do about it, just like the establishment Republicans did over Donald Trump. This time, however, if crazy socialist Bernie doesn't get the nomination, Democrats may well have a Bolshevik revolution on their hands. Well, in case you missed the Grammys a couple of weeks ago, you're not alone. TV ratings dropped to another all-time low, down 53% just since 2012. And did you know, you don't even have to have a musical talent to win the Grammys. Just be a big-name politician and put out an audiobook about yourself. Michelle Obama won this year. Heck, I wasn't even nominated, not even for God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy. And finally, marijuana advocates are angry at President Trump for saying that being a pothead does cause an IQ problem. I think their exact response was, what's the word, dude? Like maybe outraged? And while some studies do show marijuana use doesn't cause lasting brain damage, anecdotal voting evidence tells a different story in blue states that have legalized it. Well, now it is time to find out what is on your mind from our My Two Cents at TBN.TV inbox. In reference to President Trump's Israel peace plan, Jim Brown writes, "The land of Israel is the sole homeland of the Jewish people. The land of Israel belongs to us, to the generations that preceded us and the generations that have yet to come. One does not conduct business or make deals on a homeland." Jim, I've seen the president's plan. There are some things that are most admirable and even creative about it. Be honest, there's some things a little troubling about it. I always hate to see Israel give up land in the hope for peace, because every time they've ever done it, they ended up with less land and they ended up with less peace. I hope it works. But the Palestinians have already said 1,000,000 times no. I think they're pretty clear they do not want a peaceful solution that involves having to acknowledge the existence of Israel. So probably like most other proposals and plans, no matter how good they are, it's not going to result in resolving a conflict that didn't start with Donald Trump and President Abbas. Our Prime Minister Netanyahu didn't even start with the new modern Israel from 1948. It goes all the way back to Abraham and his two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. And how you believe that the promise of the land was made, whether it was to Isaac or Ishmael, will really determine your view of not just Israel, but of the Middle East. We get this from John McCall of Montreal. He writes, he says, "Hi Mike, love the show. I picked New York as a state because you don't list Canadian provinces on your email inquiry options, which is something we may need to fix so that we can respond better to our Canadian viewers, for which we are most grateful. Anyway, being in the Montreal area, it is sort of upstate New York. First of all, thank you. Thank you for contacting us. Thank you for being a good sport about us not having a Canadian place to write from, something that, as I say, we will try to fix. And thanks to all of our Canadian viewers, and we hope we will add many more." Then we get this from Michael. He is in Waller, Texas, and he is upset. And he wants me to know about it. Here's what he says. He says, "You must be a moron baboon for supporting the dirtbag faking his way as a president. He could not be commander-in-chief of a rubber duck. The traitor is obviously guilty of cowardice to the office and our country, and you know it. You should be ashamed to even call yourself an American for supporting the kind of corruption persistent throughout the entirety of the executive branch of government. Have no worry, though, the voters will speak soon. My response, Michael, is you better believe they will. And I'm not too sure you're going to be all that happy about it. I think it's going to be quite unlike what you expect. Hey, if you have a question or a comment, even if it's a nasty one, send it to us at my2cents@tbn.tv. We truly do look forward to hearing from you. Also, from my Twitter page, where you can follow me at GovMikeHuckabee, comes a turn of events for CNN's Don Lemon. I noted that Lemon, anti-Trumper Rick Wilson, and New York Times writer Wahat Alaware were all shamefully shilling for Adam Schiff and his serfs just a few days ago. They were mocking middle Americans for their uneducated and unenlightened views, their values, and their votes for Donald Trump. And Lemon even laughed so hard he had to put his head down on the desk. Well, it looks like all that fun at the American voters' expense is helping boost Trump and other Republicans in 2020. This ad is receiving a lot of viewing response.
Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
And so that's partly him playing to their base.
Anyone who supported this president is, at best, looking the other way on racism, at best.
The credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's the smart one, and y'all elitists are dumb.
Trump always loves the low information guy.
You elitists with your geography and your maps.
Issue of racism across the country, because that's his base.
Your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading, your geography, no other country.
Well, it looks like the Republicans and all those uneducated hillbillies are making lemonade out of Don Lemon for his callousness and insensitivity. Mr. Lemon, always remember this: those who don't see the world your way are people too. But you might not know that even if we put a U on a map of the USA with a big picture of Americans who don't live in New York or LA, they'd still be Americans. And next time you're thinking that you want to hand even more control of your life over to the federal government, remember what economist Milton Friedman once said: if you put the federal government in charge of the Sahara Desert, in 5 years, there'd be a shortage of sand. Consider that when thinking of Washington controlling all medical care or all retirement funds or all educational opportunities. Well, until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.